going to call the meeting back to order. Thank you all for that indulgence of the break. We're going to go back to now the approval for the new job description for the stadium oversight manager to set the control point. And I'm going to ask that the council continue this item. Vice Mayor O'Neill?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to table the approval of the new job description for the stadium oversight manager until such time as we resolve the issue about the management of the stadium.
Okay, there's a motion. I'm going to ask also for the item 20B.
Right, the same,
Can we put both of those together, or do we take them
Table
separately?
A and
Table
B.
A, 20A and B to table.
to such time as the other issue that we just discussed is resolved.
Is there a second? Second, any discussion from the audience? Lights on the motion, please. Thank you. We're going to table that item. Okay, approval of the ad hoc stadium audit committee minutes from September 26th. Motion to approve.
Second.
Second, any discussion? Lights on the motion, and that passes unanimously. The ad hoc stadium audit committee meetings, minutes of October 12th.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, second. Any discussion or comments from the audience? Okay. And that passes unanimously. And the ad hoc stadium audit committee minutes from October 27th.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, second. Any discussion, comments from the audience? Please come forward.
I was at the audit committee meetings, and I do want to finish the last sentence that I was saying because it is related before I was cut off, and I respect the timer, so I will step
Sorry,
away.
it was a hostile crowd.
I respect the timer, that's fine.
Okay.
So I will finish because it is a related topic, and the comments that I was going to end off on was there are not quite as many 49er supporters here as there were opponents when Jed York tried to take over our soccer park. And Measure R was put on the ballot to oppose Jed York and protect our open spaces. By voting yes on Measure R, 90% of our city opposed Jed York. 79% of Santa Clarans opposed Donald J. Trump. Now let that sink in. More Santa Clarans oppose Jed York than they did Donald J. Trump. Now how's that for political theater?
Thank you. Okay, the motion second. And that passes unanimously. Thank you. Next, we have the approval of the legal services agreement with Goldfarb and Littman for $150,000 for continuing legal representation related to the Stadium Authority. Vice Mayor O'Neill?
I just wanted to ask a question. That is like a not-to-exceed amount? That is just like to set up a pool of money that we can draw upon as those legal resources
Yeah, absolutely.
may be needed?
The firm has represented the city going back to, I think, 2008 with regard to the stadium project, and their stadium authority work has gone down considerably. That we rely on the firm primarily for their historical background in the because they help negotiate the deal and draft all the agreements, including the construction, the financing, and operations. Now their principal role is to provide support to Hanson Bridget, our lead counsel on the stadium arbitration. That's primarily where we're relying on the firm now, and some operational issues that come up periodically, although we're relying on the firm quite a bit less these days, and like I said, they're not our lead counsel on the stadium arbitration.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Watanabe? Yeah.
Thank you.
That's the microphone.
Does Goldman and Lipfarb, excuse me, city attorney, what is their name?
Goldfarb and Littman.
It's late, it's late.
Not that late. Come on. We've been a lot later. I'm just getting started. Another cup of coffee. Let's go.
No, I really have a serious question. Do they bear any responsibility in overseeing the leases that we've just had this long chat about tonight?
I would say no. That's staff's responsibility. The firm and primarily Karen Tiedemann and Tom Weber, actually going back to Lee Rosenthal, who's since passed, they were a resource that helped negotiate and draft the agreements, but occasionally we'll rely on them for their perspective on interpreting certain issues, but I wouldn't say they have any oversight role.
Thank you.
Can I ask you, City Attorney, because when Vice Mayor O'Neill, Councilmember Davis, and I had several meetings with our staff when we were going over all the agreements and wanting information, probably about a year ago, the same information we're talking about tonight, Goldfarb and Lippman were represented in the meetings that we were there, and we were asking for this information, and they... obviously, we were paying them to be in these meetings, yet it appeared that they were representing us for these contracts, yet we didn't get any information, so we weren't really represented, but yet we were paying them. So I'm just concerned that I know that they are supporting the attorneys that we hired for the rent reset arbitration, but minus their historical, history with that, it appears that the attorneys that we hired have it very much under control. And my question is, why are we continuing to use their legal representation when it appears these other attorneys have it under control, when they didn't seem to be involved at all, even though they were in our meetings, to get us any information to comply with the existing contracts we have. I'm having a problem with that. So I don't know, what is this $150,000 for
Well,
exactly?
we can certainly lower the amount, as the Vice Mayor said, it's a not to exceed amount. We just didn't want to have to come back. The attorneys we expect will be witnesses in the stadium arbitration. They were pretty extensively involved in assisting staff with rent calculations and also working with Kaiser Marston, our financial advisor. And so, like I said, they're primarily being relied upon now, at least in the stadium authority role, as a resource for the stadium rent arbitration. Once that proceeding is concluded, I don't expect there's going to be even close to a reliance upon the firm as there has been historically. So if you're uncomfortable with the amount, we can certainly reduce that, but we are going to have to rely upon them to some limited degree during the rent arbitration.
Okay, go ahead, Councilmember Davis.
Thank you.
And Watchdog.
Thank you, Mayor. That's what I was just going to ask, Ren. That was my question. Instead of 150,000, would like 75,000 be more, like half that for now, unless, and then?
Sure, that would be fine.
Okay.
There was no magic to the number. It was just the one.
I would feel
when we
more
when we try to
comfortable-
bring these consultant contracts, we try to set them high because it is a not to exceed, so we don't have to bring it back again and again and again. But whatever number this group feels is appropriate would be
be-
absolutely fine.
More comfortable with the 75,000 because you did, when I talked to you about this, you said it was more historical. They're just helping aid with the arbitration. So I would like to change that amount to 75,000.
They also give us some housing advice unrelated to the stadium authority, as they have for 20 plus years.
That's fine. I just realized we have so many issues and problems with the Stadium Authority, and I'd really like to have other people have fresh eyes on this for us going forward.
And in that vein, we
I
may-
thank them for what they've done in the past, appreciate that, but I think now our issues and problems are, the fact that we need fresh eyes to look and to enforce these contracts, and I just don't see that happening.
We've invested some time and resources to bring our record counsel in the arbitration up to speed on the contracts, and that's an investment on our part, and perhaps we can utilize that
Right,
moving
and I'm
forward.
very comfortable with them. Councilmember Watanabe?
If there's no further discussion, I'd like to make a motion then to approve the legal services agreement with Goldfarb and Lippman for the amount of $75,000 for continuing legal representation related to the Stadium Authority.
Okay, there's a motion and second for discussion, but we have the public to go to. Please come forward.
Thank you, Tino Silva. Thank you. Here we go. Okay. So I would agree with the mayor that I think moving forward, we need to have a fresh set of eyes. But I would argue that in your due diligence, and I would ask the city attorney, that you would find a firm that has represented cities in these types of negotiations. There's 32 NFL teams, 30 or so Major League Baseball teams, and such. So there are hundreds of professional sports organizations, and I'm sure that there are counsel out there that have had to work on behalf of municipalities when it comes to negotiating contracts. So, you know, while I think the $75,000 could be warranted, the other thing is I read the agreement, and the agreement is extremely vague. I think going forward, there should be a little bit more in there so the public can really understand why we would spend $150,000 on this firm. But again, going forward, you know, I would really encourage that we find a firm that specializes in exactly what we need them to specialize in. And that way we can really get the expertise that we need, and we can really get the advice that we need going forward. And hopefully we don't have to use it. I mean, hopefully we can smooth the road and we can all play nice in the sand. But until that day comes, I think it's prudent that we find somebody who truly has the expertise in that area to represent us. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Watanabe.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm all done.
Okay. Anyone else from the public like to speak? Okay, seeing none, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any other discussion? And that motion passes unanimously. All right, now we're down to written petition. Patricia A. Lopez, proposed expansion of the City of Santa Clara smoking ordinance in multi-use residences. I'm sorry for the lateness of hour, but please come forward. And under our new governance policy, you're actually our first written petition, so yay.
Thank you. I'm over 30 years resident of Santa Clara, and I am proposing that an expansion of the City of Santa Clara's no smoking ordinance be implemented to allow smoking in multi-user residences only in designated areas, away from doors, windows, vents, and away from common and exclusive use areas similar to the no smoking ordinances in the cities of Sunnyvale, San Jose, and Union City. I am proposing that the expansion of the no smoking ordinance include the following areas: in the units and in common areas such as halls, walkways, pathways, elevators, stairs, carports, garages, parking lots, yards, play areas, pool areas, laundry rooms, gym facilities, and in exclusive use areas such as balconies, porches, and patios. By establishing a designated smoking area, the City of Santa Clara will be able to limit the dangers to its residents due to the exposure to secondhand smoke. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. If you want to just hold there for a second. Vice Mayor O'Neill?
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor. So thank you for coming this evening. It's actually is something that I have been interested in and have talked to some residents about, and I have mentioned it in the past to the city attorney, and I actually talked to one of the officials with the Tri-County Apartments Association to kind of get their take. And I met with representatives of Breathe California, which was formerly known as the American Lung Association. I would be very supportive of this, and I had talked also to the people from Breathe California about some possible model ordinances. And one of the things that was concerning to me was when I found out I was doing some, looking through some of the Breathe California materials, City of Santa Clara actually gets an F ranking from Breathe California on the level of our secondhand smoke ordinances on their report cards that they do of cities. So that was a little disconcerting to see as we have more people and families living in multifamily homes that I think the smoke issue is difficult, and I don't know, what's going to, we're also going to be having to look at now that personal marijuana use is going to be legal, the issues, there's going to be probably more smoke in people's residential areas. So I would be supportive of, and I'm not sure if we need to have, send it to a committee, or if I could work with the city attorney, or.
I have a suggestion
And Ms. Lopez?
also. I have a suggestion, Vice Mayor. What if we looked at taking this, first of all, referring it to staff to get more information, and then referring it to our January goal-setting session? Because this is something like a larger policy that we should discuss, the smoking and the marijuana issue. We can get them both at the same time, to move this forward and to progress it, so that we can really have some meaningful discussion. That's just a suggestion.
Sure. Maybe I could talk with the city attorney and see what and maybe Ms. Lopez, if we have your contact information, I guess.
So you can assist us in moving this
Go ahead.
forward, too.
I'd love to.
Do we,
We would make a motion to refer to the staff and also our goal-setting committee meeting in January.
okay.
Is that, because we talked about what committee would talk about this, but I'd rather it be the entire council
Okay.
that discusses this type of a policy change for, for
All
our
right, and so,
city.
City Clerk, do we have Ms. Lopez's contact information from her petition?
We do.
Okay, so then maybe perhaps we will be in touch with you, and we can have maybe a conversation before the council goal-setting meeting.
Okay, great.
Thank you for bringing this forward to us. We
welcome.
appreciate it, and I'm sorry for the lateness of the hour.
Oh, that's okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, wait, that was a motion. Do we need to refer officially? Yes.
Second.
Motion, Teresa was the motion, and Councilmember Davis is the second. Oh, Councilmember Caserta made the motion. Councilmember Davis is the second. Okay. Oh, is anyone in the audience would like to speak on that issue? Okay, and that passes unanimously. Next, we have public presentations. If any member of the public would like to come forward to make a presentation, please come forward. Oh, thank you. Please, you can start.
Thank you. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council members. My name is Sue Ellen Haggerty. I'm a public health nutritionist, and I'm here with a special invitation from you all, from the Public Health Department. It sounds like a little last minute, but it sounds like it also would be really interesting for you to attend. It's this Friday, November 18th, at the Tech Museum, and it's downtown San Jose. Our focus is helping all the cities come together in the county to work on wellness, smoking, sugar-sweetened beverages, safe routes to school. I mean, all the things you're already working on, but to come together and to try to make the whole county so much healthier. So that's the whole idea of the conference, just to share policies and strategies. The Healthy City Dashboard will be presented on that day as well. I definitely wanted to thank, it's Jennifer Yamaguma.
Yeah, there she is, right there.
Oh, thank you so much. You've done a great job already. You're going to be there, right, Friday? Oh, good. Well, I have invitations for all of you. Oh, I'm so
Oh,
glad.
Vice Mayor is coming as well.
Oh, that's fabulous. Well, you're going to get great ideas for all the
Did
smoking
you invite all of
ideas.
us? Wait a minute here.
Well, actually,
No.
I have the agenda on the back, and the registration information is there. It talks about trying to, it's a beautiful luncheon. That's why we needed the time by the 11th. But just please come and be part of it. But again, thank you so much for all your city leadership. For me, just going through the experience of this last few hours and seeing how local government does the best work, to stand up for what you believe in, as I firmly do, and us not having obese children and having a community that's scared to have a low life expectancy. I love to see how you compromise. I love that we can make progress in that way. So I think you'll enjoy this event. Thank you for your time. Good
No,
night.
thank you. Thank you for the invitation. Okay, anyone else? Please come forward.
It's not about the 49ers, I promise you. Just last week, right after the election of our new president, the number of hate crimes on minorities has skyrocketed nationwide. Last week, a Muslim student at San Jose State University had her hijab, or her headscarf, ripped off her head and choked her. A Sikh student was shot and killed last week as well in California. chants to Latino students in middle schools saying, "Build a wall, build a wall." The rhetoric has been vile this election season, nationally and locally. I am a proud Muslim. My sisters who wear the headscarf are an open target. I can walk around without people knowing I'm a Muslim, so unfortunately, our minorities who wear their identities on their sleeve are attacked first. Whether they are African American, Latino, Sikhs, or Muslim women, they are all targets. So let it be known, I am a proud American Muslim. I am your neighbor. I am your friend. I am your brother. If anybody is thinking about harming another minority, especially if they are a woman, you'll have to come through me first. I wear it proudly on my sleeve, and I trust that my name will be, and trust me, that my name will be loud and proud on a Trump Muslim registry if it ever comes to that. And I invite you all to stand up, to also stand up for your neighbors, friends, and brothers and sisters in humanity. I refuse to be a victim. We stand strong and stand for what's right. The call to action to all of you watching is this: if you see a minority in your community, make them feel welcome. We are all Santa Clarans. We are all Americans. We are all human. We stand as one.
Thank you, Assam. Okay, anyone else? Okay, seeing none, then we will move on to reports of members and special committees. Councilmember Caserta.
Yeah, I do want to follow up on that. Teaching at San Jose State last week and at Santa Clara High School, and Chief, I'd like you to come up in a second. I was actually so proud of the peaceful transfer of power after the toxic environment of our campaign when President-elect Trump and President Obama met together at the White House. However, I think I can speak for all of us. We stand together for people of the Muslim faith. We don't stand for misogyny. We don't stand for xenophobia. We don't stand for homophobia. And Chief, can you just stand up for a second and talk about what's happened in the last week and safety measures that were taken to make sure all Santa Clarans feel safe? Because I know all of us stand by all Santa Clarans.
Yeah, absolutely, and thank you for the opportunity. I agree with Sam. You know, this is a great community that we live in because of the diversity that we have, and it is a safe community, and I think it's very important that everybody respects one another, respects religion. You know, that it should be a safe environment for people to live, work, and play. And if anybody feels that they are being attacked or profiled or any of those type of situations, please feel freely to contact the police department, either through our non-emergency number at 408-615-5580, or if it's an emergency, by all means, call 911. But it definitely will not be tolerated, and it's a safe community for everybody that lives in the city of Santa Clara. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Davis.
Happy news. The Triton Museum has their winter exhibition. Oh my God, I'm getting like you, Kathy. Series, Imaginary Art for Wine Collection and an Art and Wine Partnership. Sounds good to me. So the artist reception is going to be held this Friday, November 18th, from 6 to 8 p.m. It is free admission. Please support our Triton Museum. They do wonderful works, and I know that our Vice Mayor is very happy when she gets lots of people there. So thank you.
Okay, City Manager, Executive Director reports.
Nothing today, Madam Mayor.
Okay, reports of action taken in closed session. City Attorney, I know we are going to adjourn back into closed session.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, we're still trailing on the litigation and the two real estate items. I also want to state that Councilmember Davis recused herself on the POA portions of our labor discussions. And then just a formality here pursuant to the Brown Act. I wanted to follow up on October 25th. I reported out that the City Council voted 6-0 with Councilmember Marsali abstaining. I reported that the Council authorized the filing of litigation against the City of San Jose as the lead agency on the Santana West project on Winchester, and Federal Realty as the real party in interest. I'm just disclosing those parties now as required by the Brown Act.
Thank you. Adjournment. I have a couple of gentlemen I'd like the council to adjourn in their memory. Jacob Anthony Gutierrez. Jacob was born on July 12, 1996, and was a Santa Clara resident. Jacob was a big fan of professional wrestling and participated in the Kiwanis Games for Kids at De Anza every year. Those that were touched by him understood that the quality of his existence far exceeded the quality of time in which he lived. Jacob is survived by his loving mother, Maureen, father, Raul, devoted brother, Joshua, devoted sister, Daniela, grandparents, and many aunts, uncles, and cousins. He touched the lives of many and is remembered as a courageous individual that was always a joy to be around. Sorry that he passed. Yes,
May I read Mr. Cooley's?
absolutely. Councilmember Watanabe.
Thank you. Richard Dick Cooley. Richard was born on November 25th, 1923 in Dallas, Texas. He grew up in Rye, New York, and has 3 younger sisters, twins, Kay and Ann and Helen. He and his family were former Santa Clarans. And actually, his mother was the real Santa Claran. Her name was Helen Pierce, if anybody knows the Pierce family. His studies at Yale were interrupted when he enlisted in the Army as a pilot during World War II. He lost his right arm in a plane crash over France. He later graduated from Yale in 1944. Mr. Cooley joined Wells Fargo in 1949 and worked his way up the corporate ranks, helping to turn what once was a relatively small San Francisco area lender into a major regional bank. In 1966, he became president and chief executive of the bank, and in 1978 was named chairman and chief executive. He was committed to his large family, his many friends, and his boundless faith. He always preferred to be in the company of family and friends to whom he offered encouragement, motivation, and support. He is survived by his wife, Bridget McIntyre Cooley, his 4 children, Leslie, Pierce, Sheila, and Mark, and numerous stepchildren. And I had the honor of attending Mr. Cooley's military funeral here in Santa Clara a week ago Saturday. He had requested to be buried with his parents, who were buried here in Santa Clara. And so he had a full military funeral there last Saturday, and with an 18-gun salute and an Air Force honor guard. So it was an honor to be able to represent Santa Clara to see where he was laid to rest.
Councilmember Watanabe, would you like to make the motion to adjourn in both their memory?
I would like to make a motion to adjourn in the memory of Jacob Gutierrez and Richard Cooley.
Is there a second? Motion second. Lights on the motion, and that passes unanimously. Thank you. We're adjourning to closed session.